Okay, this is our chapter 12.2, Frequency and Histograms video lesson for Algebra 1D. In this lesson, we're going to make and interpret frequency tables and histograms. So the frequency of an interval is the number of data values in that interval. And a frequency table is going to group a set of data values into intervals and show the frequency for each interval. And we can see what that looks like in this first example. It says it gives the number of home runs by the batters in a local home run derby are listed below. What is a frequency table that represents the data? So to do this, you kind of just need to figure out what you're going to and from. Like the smallest value here is 2, and the largest is going to be 17. So we need to split up 17 and 2 into equal intervals, which in this case are, I think, 17 minus, to figure out how many numbers are in between, you take the biggest one, subtract the smallest one, and add 1. So 17 minus 2 is 15, plus 1 is 16. So we can divide 16 into 4 groups. So we could do 2, 3, 4, 5, 2 through 5. And then 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. And then 14, 15, 16, 17. So that would be our intervals. And then this side of the table, we're going to do our frequency. So how many numbers are between 2 and 5? So we can look through here and see we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So there are 4 of them. And then if we move on to those between 6 and 9, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. So here are 4 in that one. And then between 10 and 13, we have, that's between 10 and 14, 10 and 13, sorry, 10 and 13. We have 1, 2, 3, also 4. Oh, no, sorry, now I'm counting greens. 3. Oops, 3. And then 14 through 17, let's make that blue. We have 1, 2, 3. 3. Okay, so that's our frequency table. Okay, so try that again with the same data, but a frequency table for the data in this same problem that it has intervals of 5. So in this case, this was intervals of 4, right? There's 4 numbers here. So see if you can split that into intervals of 5 and then to see how the frequency table changes. So try that on your own and then check back for the solution. Press pause. Okay, here is one example. You could do it however you wanted. I just added a 1 on the end here and went up to 20 on this end here. So there's still 14 total. This just you can see how it's split up from 1 to 4, 5 to 9. You could have also done, the book did like 2 to 6, 7 to 11, 12 to 16, and 17 through 21. So you can do it however, whichever way you can do intervals of 5. Doesn't matter. Okay, so now we're moving on to histograms. So a histogram is a graph that can display data from a frequency table and has 1 bar for each interval. So we're going to move on to problem 2. It shows data below are numbers of hours per week a group of students spent watching TV. What is the histogram that represents the data? Well, first we need a frequency table. So let's look and see. We have 0 as the lowest, and then what's the highest? Number of hours per week, 22. So we need to go from 0 to 22, and so that is, there are actually 23 elements, right? Because 0 counts as 1. So let's divide, let's see. Let's do 24. And let's go by 6s. Let's do 4 of 6. So 0 through 5, 6 through 11, 12 through 17, and then 18 through 23. And then do our frequency table of these. Okay, frequency. So 0 through 5, there are 6 of them. 6 through 11, there are 5 of them. 12 through 17, there are 3 of them. And then 18 through 23, there's 1. And so what we can do is graph this then. The highest it goes up is to 6 here. So let's do 2, 4, 6. And then we have our, let's do our intervals. So we have intervals, this is 0 through 5. This is going to be 6 through 11. This is going to be 12 through 17. And then this is going to be 18 through 23. And so what the histogram is you're going to make a bar at that interval. So for this one here, let's make this bar red. There's 6. So this bar is going to go up to 6. Okay, so this is a histogram. So this is for this interval. There are 6 in that interval. Okay, and then for, let's make this one blue. For this interval, 6 to 11, this one only goes up to 5. So that would be this bar here. And so that's for this interval. So it's kind of a visual of the frequency table. And let's move on to make this one yellow. There's only 3 in this interval. So that goes there. And then this one's going to only have 1. And then we can color code it just because it looks better if it's color coded. And then there we go. Okay, and you can kind of see how that works. So it'll help you understand the data a little bit better. It's just giving you a visual of the data. There are more people. Most people are in the, or the group with the most people is from 0 to 5, which is good. And there's just this one little outlier between 18 and 23. Okay, so try this on your own. Down here, this next one is finishing times and seconds for a race are shown below. What is the histogram that represents this data? So press pause and try this one on your own. Check back for the solution. Okay, and here's the histogram I made, and you could have done this differently. There were 26 different numbers it could have been, right, between 105 and 80. So I actually decided to split mine up into 3 groups of 10 each. I just made it 30, just because it was easier actually to count to just find the 80s. So there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 scores in the 80s, 5 in the 90s, and 2 in the 100s. And then I just made a histogram. Okay, so hopefully you did something similar. Okay, and then what to do with histograms. So histograms have all different kinds of shapes, but there are 3 types that are shown here. If the bars are roughly the same height, we call this histogram as uniform. If the vertical line, can kind of divide the histogram into 2 parts. So in the middle, there's more in the middle and then more on the outliers on the ends. So that's symmetric. But if it has 1 peak that's not in the center, then it's skewed. So let's look at this first problem here about this. And it is asking, is a histogram uniform, symmetric, or skewed? You can see here this is going up and then back down. So this looks like it's symmetric. You could draw a line right here and it kind of fold over. So this one would be symmetric. With this line right there, right? This is symmetric on either side. And this one has a peak that's not in the center, right? Here's the center, but the peak is over here. So this is skewed. Okay, and then why don't you look at these? Oh, actually, you're going to have to do your own. So make your own histogram, and then decide whether or not the histogram is uniform, symmetric, or skewed. And I'll leave that up like that. Okay, press pause, try this on your own, and check back for the solution. Okay, hopefully you got something that looks like this. Obviously, answers will vary depending on how you made your frequency table. But this one is about uniform, right? Everything's about the same here. Except for this one, it kind of goes off, but there's no just like actual peak. Okay. And the last thing we're going to do is talk about a cumulative frequency table. So it's going to show the number of data values that lie in or below a given interval. So we're going to start maybe by look at this data. It's a number of text messages sent on one day by different students. Shown below, what is the cumulative frequency table that represents the data? So we're going to set up a frequency table similar, but when we go to do the next row, we're going to add that to the row below it. So let's look here. We have a 0 and we have a anything bigger than 30. Ooh, 49. So we need to go from 0 to 49, which is 50 different. So let's do that in tens. 0 to 9, 10 to 19, 20 through 29, 30, 39, and then 40 through 49. And then what we'll do, right, it's never data that lie in or below the interval. So let's see, how many are 0 through 9? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. So there are 9. So now we're going to, the frequency for 10 through 19, we're going to add 9 to that, whatever that is, through the 10. So 1, 2, 3, oh, I missed 2 here, right? 9, 10, 11. So this is 11. All right, 1, 2, 3. So we have 3 here, so we're going to add that on. So this is 14. Oh, actually, let me make this. Let's actually do what the book did. Let's make this a little easier on ourselves. So let's first do the frequency. So this is 11 and 3. So let's do exactly what we did before. And then 20s, we have 1, 2, 3. And then 30s, we have 1, 2, 2. And then 40s, we have 2. Okay, so then the cumulative frequency is going to be, start with the first row and then add these 2 rows. This is 14. Okay, then add these 2 rows. Actually, you just always add these 2. 17 plus 2 is 19, and then 21. So the end here should be however many elements you have, right? Because everything is either in that last category or less than that. And you can double check that. You have 21, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Yep. Okay, so that's a cumulative frequency table. So try this last one on your own. Make a frequency table, then include a column for the cumulative frequency. And then we will be done. Okay, hopefully get something like this. If we split our intervals into 0 to 4, 5 to 9, 10 to the 14, and 15 through 19, they're by 5s. This is our frequency here. And then our cumulative frequency, we figure out this is going to be the same. And then just add that number 10, add that number 14, add that number 2, 16. Okay, so here's your practice. Enjoy.